Was there ever a point in your life where you were like, my father's not around, like, him?
No,
You were always grateful for just him
no.
giving you birth. And
Look, at the end of the day, a lot of people that we grew up with, their dads weren't around either. So it was normal, but it's abnormal, you
mm,
know? But I never had this F my father because at the end of the day, what did it do for me? What did it get me? To walk around holding a grudge with anger or my father did this, my father did that. Look, I don't care. My man, do what you got to do. I'm going to do what I have to do. I remember years and years ago, I became a New York City correction officer. And me and my partner, we had a specialized unit. It was the supervised detention unit. And we're driving in a specific area in Brooklyn. And I told my partner, go knock on the door over there. And when the man comes to the door, tell him to come to the car. He came to the car. He looked at me. He said, Norman. I said, hey, Dad, how you doing? I just stopped by to see how you doing. I just stopped by to tell you I love you. God bless you. And he looked at me and he asked for my sister and he asked for the others. But it wasn't anger, it was love. Because God knows, man, it's my father. What are you
wow.
gonna do? You know what I mean? And that still touches me to this day. And I remember when he died of a heart attack. I went to, I believe it was Brookdale Hospital. And I walked in and I asked the attendant in the morgue area, I said, pull him out. Let me see him. And he pulled him out. And I remember kissing my father. And I remember cutting a piece of his hair and put it in my wallet. I said, Dad, I love you, man. And no matter what, and to this day, Kev, I've been married 41 years. My baby is 37 years old.
Wow.
My baby daughter's 37. Oldest one is 39. I have 4 beautiful, beautiful grandchildren, a wonderful, wonderful wife who's my rock, who stuck by me through all the shit that I've been going through and all the people that deserted me. She never deserted me. And that taught me a really valuable lesson. Sometimes you got to hit rock bottom and get back up. You don't stay there. And I say that to say I will never, never leave my family. I will never walk out on my children like someone walked out on me, because you don't get it. You don't get it like that. So yeah, that's
You broke the chain.
yeah.
You
I did.
broke the chain.
Yeah.
And you are now a role model to your kids.
Oh yeah.
And you've shown them the path. And I bet they are phenomenal parents to your grandkids.
Absolutely, they are, and I love them. I love them with all my heart. You know, look, I've taken a different approach in a lot of things in my life. I'll be 65 years old this year, and the approach that I've taken in my life, and you could ask my wife this, my attitude, my position on a lot of things right now is that don't have nothing to do with me. So I'm not going to yell and scream and at my kids or my grandkids. Hold on. They are parents now. They have to learn how to handle their children the same way we learned. We could give them advice, but I'm certainly not going to tell them what to do. I mean, if it's harmful, of course, but if it's not, let them do it. Let them have fun. Let them have fun.
You also don't have the energy to be doing that anymore either. Oh, I see my parents. I have a daughter. I have a 5-year-old daughter. And like when I bring her home, like I can
God
see.
bless her.
Yeah, she's amazing. We're divorced, me and her mother. But Norm, I went through a period in the beginning. I mean, my ex-wife didn't do much to me bad.
Mhm.
And it was still this anger. Today, we are best of friends
God
today.
bless you.
I am so grateful that she is the mother she is to my daughter. I am so grateful. Her and I, we have 50-50 split custody. Is it ever 50-50? No, because we work with one another.
Right.
Hey, like, I want to go out and do this next week. Is like, yeah, we'll swap days. No problem. Boom.
Mhm.
It's so, it's an easier way to live as well.
Yes, it is. Because something that I said before when you said it was anger in the beginning. The reason why it didn't work in the beginning is because you tried to skip the process. You can't skip the process.
Mm.
You have to communicate with each other because obviously your daughter sees it as well and she hears it. You can't allow those things to happen. What we do now, so many people do now, is they'll have an argument in front of the child and you will divide the child and get the child to pick sides. That's not fair to the child. You know,
Mm.
if me and you're going to have a disagreement, let's wait until the baby or the little one is out of the room and take the opportunity to say, okay, what is it really about? Is it about what? Let's get right to the root of it. Forget all the pomp and circumstance. Let's go right to what it is that we have to talk about. I don't want to talk, don't change the narrative. I want to talk about exactly what it is that's bothering you. Let's deal with that. And then let's agree to disagree. But at the end of the day, let's be respectful of each other's opinion. And that's where I'm at in my life. And that's where others need to be in their life. Stop trying to rule everybody. Stop trying to be a dictator, if you will. Do as I say, not as I do. It doesn't work like that. We're in a situation now throughout the city, throughout the state, throughout the country, where people think that their opinion matters more than anybody else's opinion. That's just unfair. It's not right.
Mm.
Let's talk about it. We talk about migrant issues, for example. Would you agree that people that come to this country illegally should be deported back to where they came from? Yes. Oh, but don't do that. Oh, don't do this. Don't do. You can't have it both ways. You either want them out or you don't want them out. And if you don't want them out, why do we have to continue to pay for them to be here? They get a freebie, but Mrs. Jones don't have no food in her refrigerator. She has no heat and hot water. She has no place to go to be comfortable, to stay warm. But you take these individuals, and the mayor of New York stands there and welcomes everybody to New York. Okay, now they're in a 5-star hotel at Times Square, getting 3 meals a day, getting a $500 allowance, getting debit cards and everything else. But the lady that lives 20 blocks from there, she's got nothing. There's something wrong. That's not right. That's not fair. And look, people can say what they want. Why don't you take your personal money out of your personal pocket and give it to them? You take all the taxpayers' money. You take all the money that's supposed to be allocated for other things. Look at some of these neighborhoods. They look like shit.
Mm.
Garbage everywhere. It's horrible. Crime everywhere. People pushing you in front of subway cars, lighting you on fire. And everybody says it's okay. Okay is not okay. It's just not okay. So we gotta do something different. We gotta get rid of those that are in office, that are doing nothing, that continue to come to us and say, vote for me. Kevin, you vote for me. I got a chicken in every pot. There is no chicken in every pot. We don't even have eggs in the supermarket. How are we going to have chickens? I'm just saying.
So how did you end up becoming a correctional officer?
My mother-in-law was a nurse in a prison system. And she said to me, why don't you take every exam that comes up, whether it be police, fire, sanitation, correction. So I took them all. And corrections called me. And when correction called me, I then went to the correction department. I then, about a year later, got called by the police department to go become a police officer. But I had already passed probation as a correction officer. So I said, it's the same thing. What am I flipping over for? So I stayed in correction. That's how I became a New York City correction officer. I was a New York City correction officer for 10 years. And then in 1993,
where were you?
I was on Rikers Island.
Okay.
I was a correctional officer on Rikers Island. And in 1993, I became disenchanted with the way that the union was operating. They just didn't give a damn about correction officers or their families. And I remember saying to someone, you know what? I'm going to run for union president. And they said to me, you're not even a union delegate. And I remember some people tried to talk me out of running. They said, why don't you be a delegate first? Why don't you do this first? Why don't you do that? I said, no, I'm going to be the president of the Correction Officers Benevolent Association. And I started an uphill battle. And I battled like hell every single day. I battled. And in 1995, I won by 1,000 votes against 4 other teams, the incumbent and 3 others. And others said that, me running would allow the incumbents to get back in because we'd all split the vote. No, God saw it differently. And I became president of the organization in 1995, and I've never looked back. I've always worked diligently for the men and women of the organization and their families. More important than anybody could ever tell you, family was number one to me. And you got the opportunity to make a change. And the changes that I've made in the correction department benefited everyone from an officer to the commissioner, to the chief of the department, all the way up the ladder, because I never left anybody behind. Every piece of legislation that I got passed for correction officers benefited everybody that wore the uniform. And those things are important. I remember one particular incident. We were up in Albany getting some legislation done, and they gave us money in the fund to buy protective gloves. So when you search, you have on these gloves. And I said, gloves? I said, I want to do something different. And they said, well, what is it that you want to do? I said, I want to take the money and I want to send all of my officers and supervisors that work in the intake area to a program to learn diversity. And they said, what? I said, yeah, I want them to learn how to communicate with people. So I sent them to a program, and the program is, the name of it will come to me in a second. It's a Jewish organization on 42nd Street. And the name of it will come to me. It escapes me for a second. And it gave people an opportunity to see what the Jewish people went through, the African Americans went through, the Holocaust. It was the Holocaust Museum. That's what it was on 42nd Street. And people looked at me like, why would you do that? I said, because I'm trying to get you to change who you are. Just because an inmate comes through the front door, that doesn't mean he's a POS. You don't know what he's here for. You don't know what happened. You don't know whether he's innocent or he's guilty, but you want to judge him. I said, that's somebody's child. If that was your child, do you want your child to be treated so disrespectfully? I used to stand up at graduation ceremonies and give out my cell phone number. Someone said to me, well, why would you give out your cell phone number? I said, because they pay for the cell phone. So they're entitled to have my phone number. It didn't matter to me. And I'd get up, and Kev, I'd get up 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning to go to the hospital to see about an officer, to go to a facility to see about an incident, to make the commissioner, the chief. If I'm up, everybody else got to get up. And then I had, of course, board members who didn't want to get up. So I was fighting a battle almost by myself, But you know what? At the end of the day, God blessed me. I mean, I feel great. I'm healthy. Well, a couple of medical COPD, stuff like that. But for the most part, I'm good because God has blessed me, So that's where I'm at in my life.
Were you president from 95 all the way to 2017?
Yeah.
Wow. So you were reelected multiple times.
4 times.
4 times.
Yeah.
Okay. So you go from being a correctional officer, no experience managing, and then you're president.
Yes.
What, from a logistics standpoint, was that like? Now you have people reporting to you. You're, making major decisions. You're going to the Capitol, to Albany. What was that like, that transition? Was there fear in the beginning?
For them, yeah, but not for me.
Well,
because I know what you're saying, and it was an experience. I didn't have anyone to teach me. There was no book that I opened up to say, well, how do I learn how to do this, or how do I learn how to do that? There was no one that sat and gave me instructions step by step by step. That's why I tell you it's all about the man upstairs, because you may not believe this or not, but there was nobody sitting next to me saying, listen, I think you should do this. And quite frankly, I'm not too keen on people that tell me, I think you should do this. That's their best interest when they talk to you like that. When someone tells you, I think you should do this, that's what they think they want you to do. I'm not that guy. I did what I had to do for the men and women. Some people said it didn't work. Well, I think you need to take a look at all the legislation that got passed. I think you need to take a look at all the raises that I got done. I think you need to take a look at the way that I did what I had to do. I was very, very successful in doing what I had to do for the men and women. Very successful. God is good, because I not only was I a union president, but I was on a commission for President George W. Bush to reform post offices in the United States of America. Had we voted another way, there would be no post offices anymore in the United States of America. There'd be boxes somewhere, okay? I was on a task force and a commissioner to work on the MTA board. And every time the MTA voted to raise the fare, I voted no. And they said to me, well, why do you keep voting no? I said, because you're not giving them nothing. You want to keep taking money from these people, but you're not even cleaning the stations. You know, I was on the transition team for Michael Bloomberg, the only union leader to support him for mayor of the city of New York, the only union leader to support Barack Obama outside of Illinois for president over Hillary Clinton, the only union leader to support Donald Trump over Hillary Clinton. So at the end of the day, yeah, I probably pissed off a lot of people, but it wasn't about me. It was about what can I do for the men and women and their families. That's what this is about. Some people think it's about them. It's not about you. You took a job to do for their families. So you become the person that has to go out here and work for their families. That's who I am.
You said there were people that were resistant to, for example, you said keep the fares where they are. They wanted to raise them. You're not giving the people anything in return.
Right.
Before you came in 95 and made all these changes, and it sounds like you're doing for the people.
It's public information. It's not like I'm making this stuff up.
Yeah, no. It's amazing. Why? What was the incentive for people to vote against you, and why weren't people making these changes prior to 95? So the prior president of the union, why wouldn't he want to do for the people? What's the incentive to not do for the people?
It's I don't know. I guess it's for themselves. You know, I mean, you know, you get people that work in unions or they're interested in themselves. They're not interested. They take the job for the financial gain of it. I didn't take the job for that. I took the job to make a change, and I made the change. Now, people could tell you, listen, some people like me, some people don't. I'm sorry. Take your pride off your shoulders, take your personal opinion out of it, and look at what I've done. Let the work that I've done speak for me. Don't tell me about you don't like my hairstyle. Don't tell me you don't like my beard. You know, I don't want to hear all of that crap. Did you get what you were supposed to have and what you were entitled to? And then some. That's the bottom line. And when you're able to separate that, then you'll say, you know what? He did okay.
You said a lot of people did it for the financial gain.
Yeah.
Do you think you talked about how you grew up, and you said you grew up rich based off of community and your experiences, not how much money you had in your pocket or anyone else had in their pocket? Do you think that instilled in you at a very young age translated over to what you did as president and some of the motions you were kind of, you know, putting into play?
Absolutely. I mean, my mom, God bless her. She sometimes, let me tell you something. Sometimes how we had dinner sometimes is she'd give you a slip and tell you, go play this number. And you play the number 10 cents straight, 15-cent combination. That was a three-way number.
Yeah.
Number come out, you got a little hit, you bought some dinner.
Yeah.
You know, and at the end of the day, that's what it was about. It was people that try to keep up with the Joneses, it doesn't work. I mean, let's be honest with each other. You get a guy drives a brand new Mercedes-Benz. Brand new. It's the top of the line Mercedes. but you're going to pay $1,100 a month for that note. You're not taking that Mercedes to bed at night. You're not tucking that Mercedes in. So you're going to give up $1,100 or $1,000 a month for this car for you to drive in 3, 4 hours a day, 5 hours a day, when you could take that money and do something else with it. You could help your kid go to college. You could help your kids' kids go to college. You can make an investment in Gerber insurance or whatever it is that you're going to do. But you could do something different. But no, some people think that I got to have this. Tell me what you got from that. I could turn around and say, okay, I call an Uber, tell Uber, send me a truck, get out the truck, same way you got there. I get pulled up to the front, you get pulled up to the front. I give the guy $20, $30. I don't owe him nothing else. You now have to give up another $880 for your car. I'm not doing that stuff. It's not about the money. It's about doing what's right for the people, Kevin. I mean, look, if you don't take the opportunity to reinvent yourself and say all of that other shit from before doesn't matter, and stop worrying about the guy next door to you or down the street from you, you're never gonna be able to make it, man. Stop focusing on that. Focus on you. Focus on you. Look yourself in the mirror. Some people look themselves in the mirror and don't even know how they look. They don't even know what they look like. They don't even know what kind of clothes they have on because they walk out and they think it's all about, no, take a look at yourself. Look in that mirror and look deep into that mirror until you're looking into that mirror and the eyes in that mirror are looking back at you. Then you get a clear picture of who you are. I have a clear picture of who I am. I have a clear picture on who I serve. I'm not interested in no man in the flesh. I'm not interested in that shit. I'm not interested in that. It just doesn't do nothing for me. Gotta focus and refocus and refocus. You have to know you cannot skip the process. And sometimes you got to be sure about what you're doing. I was told once before that there was a bunch of birds, and these birds were going to fly south. And all the birds got up to fly south except for this one bird. This one bird said, I'll catch up. So the bird jumps up. He says everybody left him. So now he's trying to make it to the south, but the weather's changing. So this bird is flying high, but then it gets cold and his wings get frozen. And this bird falls from the sky into a pile of dung, a pile of horse shit. And this bird is stuck now. And this bird can't move. Now he's in this horse shit, but he fell in it. And now his wings are starting to defrost. So along comes a cat who's about to eat this bird. And the cat is the enemy of the bird. So the cat looks at the bird, starts to dig away where the bird is in the pile. And as the cat digs away, the cat goes, oh, this smell, I can't take it, moves away. But by that time, the bird's wings had defrosted. So the moral to it is, sometimes the person that pulls you out of shit is not always your friend, but you will get out of that shit sooner or later.
What was one of the toughest moments for you being the president of the union for that long? It's 12 years, right?
No, 20.
I'm sorry, 20. It was 22 years.
Yeah. One of the toughest, I don't know. I had a lot of tough days, man. I think one of the toughest days is when they arrested me for something that I didn't do. And that broke my heart. But I kept my chin up, kept a smile on my face, because I have faith. I have faith, my man. And at the end of the day, I knew I'd come through this. And I'm coming through it. I still battle. But you know what? It's because of people that you thought were on your side that left you. It's because of people that you thought were your friends that turned their back on you. You're going to get that, Kev. A lot of people are going to get that. Take a lesson from a guy like me. don't trust them. They don't mean you any good. Ones that tell you I got your back, those are probably the first ones that don't have your back. It's the ones that show up when others ran away. Those are your friends. And I got a handful of them. But those are the ones that showed up when everyone stepped away. Those are the ones that call you and say, do you need anything? The lights on in the house? Got food on the table? Those are the ones, man. And I'm telling you, man, you don't know what it feels like. But growing up the way that I grew up, I knew where I came from. I didn't have nothing then, and I don't have nothing now. But at the end of the day, I got something that a lot of people don't have. That's love.
Can you walk us through what had happened, why you were arrested?
I don't want to go into too much of it because I'm still dealing with some legal issues.
Mm-hmm.
But the crust of it is we all made an investment, board of trustees and everybody else. And the investments, we got hoodwinked. They said I took a bribe. I didn't take a bribe. You can't bribe me. After sitting in office for 20 years, you could bribe me? You can't bribe me. And unfortunately, people saw it differently.
Mm-hmm.
What I know, if I knew then what I know now, I'd have did things a little bit differently. But I trusted people on the executive board. And I trusted them to do the right thing. And they did the wrong thing. But at the end of the day, that's something that they have to deal with. I'm clean. I'm good. I feel great. They're the ones that can't look me in the face. They're the ones who did what they did. I feel great. I can look at them and say, I love you, man. God bless you. I love you. They can't do the same to me because they know what they did to me. And it's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. But that's what I tell you. You can't skip the process. This is all part of the process. I have to go through this process. But God is good to me. God, he's favored me. He's shown his grace to me. And I'm going to do what it is that I have to do.
What year were you arrested?
16.
2016. Did they come to your house and arrest
you? Oh,
you?
yeah. FBI, whole 9 yards. Oh, yeah.
Was it federal?
Yeah. FBI, everything.
Did you kind of know it was coming or no?
No.
Out of nowhere, they came knocking at your door.
I mean, look, why, if you're not living
you
like that,
why would you think it was coming?
Why would you think something was coming?
Right.
Yeah, I don't, listen, that's just the way that it is. But
yeah.
I mean, we all go through things in our life. It's unfortunate, but that's just the way that it is, man.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you look at life itself, I mean, look at the president of the United States. He hit with 34 charges.
Mm-hmm. Felonies. Yeah.
Felonies. But you know what? God bless him. Because he stood up and he fought back, man. You don't lay down. You don't get under a rock and hide, oh, poor me. Get your ass up and do what you're supposed to do. Fight. 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 Right?
Yeah. You talk a lot about God. When did you really start to build a solid connection with God, and what has God done for you over the years?
I think that I've always been, my mom has always instilled God in us, Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. She's always done that. And I remember, I think I was in the 7th grade or something. I remember reading a Bible on the bus as I was going to school. And the verse that I read was, a good tree cannot bringeth forth bad fruit, and a bad fruit cannot bringeth forth good tree. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was on the 42 bus on Westchester Avenue going to junior high school. And I've always had God in my life. Any public appearance that I've made, any public speaking that I've done, graduations, wherever it is, anyone will tell you Norman Seabrook has always mentioned God. Somewhere in something he's saying, God will come up. When I really, really understood is when they told me to strip. When I went into a facility and they said, strip, take off all your clothes. That's when I knew that I was being rebuilt. That's when I knew that things were about to change. I don't want to go into it, but I have one thing I would tell people, I would give you advice on. Write down your dreams. When you get up in the morning, write down your dreams. Write them down. Write them down. First thing in the morning, write down your dreams. I wrote down my dreams. And I could tell you, I could show you on paper different things that have been shown to me and told to me. It will blow your mind. And I'm not going to reveal that. You'll probably get that in my book.
What was so? Did you after you were arrested? Did you go to jail?
I went to federal custody.
How long were you in prison?
22 months.
22 months.
Yep.
What was that like? You were a correctional officer at one point.
Yep.
You were the president of the
Yep.
union.
Yep.
And then now you're in prison for 22 months.
Yep.
What was that
But
experience
something
like?
I still maintain my innocence of.
Yeah.
What was it like? It didn't really bother me because I worked in that environment and I wasn't a douchebag. I was a good officer. You know, I wasn't afraid. I wasn't shook. I wasn't scared. It didn't bother me. You know, it gave me an opportunity. Honest to God, it gave me an opportunity to reevaluate a lot of things in my life. And that's why I tell you I love my wife so much, because the woman stuck by me, man. She could have left me. She didn't leave me, man. Nobody else said, hey, Norm, I got you. Don't let nobody tell you that they had me. They didn't have shit for me. They didn't knock on my door. Oh, well, I'm not going to say they didn't. There was a few of them. I'm not, and I don't want to name names because if I leave one name out, they're going to say, well, you forgot me.
Yeah.
But there were some.
Yeah.
Especially female correction officers.
Mhm.
Oh, man. They came to my aid. They still call my wife to this day. Okay? But a couple of the brothers. So, yeah, I wasn't shook. As a matter of fact, I was, when I got there, I got a job immediately in the education department because I have a degree. I got a job in the education department, and I helped 4 brothers get their GEDs, and they graduated. Then I went to work another job because, you know, I had this time. What are you going to do? Walk the yard all day? Now. So I had a second job. The second job was the kitchen. I worked in the kitchen, worked my way up to the head chef. So, you know, when you're the man in the kitchen, you're in charge of that chicken. You're in charge of the fish. You're in charge of the hot dogs, the hamburgers and stuff like that. So you help your people out. Your people that are working for you, you know, this one wants 5 extra pieces because he's going to sell it. Go ahead. Do what you got to do. That's the way that I have always been. Share. Give everybody what they need. And that's what I did. And I didn't have any problems. I was treated respectfully.
Mm.
I was not disrespected. I was treated respectfully. People knew who I was. Officers knew who I was. And it was an experience, but it was an eye-opening experience. It really, really, really was an eye-opening experience. And I think that those 22 months of my life really gave me an opportunity to see clearly a lot of things. Because now you look at like the administration in the city of New York, for example. Had I not went through this, would I be caught up in something with them right now? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Probably.
So my God moved me. He said, okay, I'm going to move you. It's going to be a little bit uncomfortable, but I'm going to move you. I'm going to sit you over here. And after I sit you over here, I want you to remember, trust me, I got you. And that's what he did.
So everyone knew that you were at one point a correctional officer and you were the president
Oh,
of
yeah.
the union when you went in there.
Oh, yeah.
And nobody gave you shit?
Nope. Nope.
That's amazing.
Because I wasn't a douchebag. I wasn't a bad guy.
Yeah.
I treated everybody the way that they're supposed to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody got treated fairly. I don't care what you're here for. That's not my problem. My job is care, custody, and control. And there's only one time while I was there that a tear came to my eye is when I got a letter from my wife. That broke my heart because I broke her heart. That hurts. And it still hurts. But I've gotten to a point where the hurt made me stronger. The love stronger. The relationship stronger. I wouldn't trade that woman in for nobody. Nobody, my man. That's my rock. And my daughters are my pebbles. That's how I get down now. You feel me? My man.
What was the craziest thing you saw as a correctional officer?
Wow. I think the craziest thing I saw is when they doused some kid with 190-degree water and they mixed baby oil in the water and his skin started peeling off right in front of you. That shit was crazy. That was crazy. That was probably the craziest thing I have ever seen. And you see these things, and after a while you become numb to them. And it's like I've seen inmates take their eyes out. Eyes sitting over here and he's over there. Mental health inmates. I've seen a lot of different things. So to pinpoint one thing, no. But one thing that I've learned is I didn't allow that to dictate who I am. I didn't allow that to become the narrative in my life. Some people get off work and the first place they go is to the parking lot and they drink a gallon of booze. Then they get into a car accident and then they kill 2 people. I've seen that happen. I didn't see it happen, but I responded to an incident where they were all hanging out, drinking, and then the guy got into a real bad car accident, killed 3 kids in a car. No, man. We got to do better than that. There's got to be a different outreach program to be able to help individuals that are facing psychological and mental problems from the work environment that they're in. The work of a New York City correctional officer, or the work of a police officer or firefighter, or anybody, or any job for that matter, you build up a lot of stress. But if you don't have an outlet to get rid of that stress, it builds up until it explodes inside of you. And then you start to do crazy things. And you can't get a hold of yourself at that point. You lose control of yourself at that point. And once you lose control of yourself, things begin to happen that you are not conscious of. That's dangerous. Very, very, very dangerous. So yeah, I think that there needs to be programs, real programs available to be able to help those that are facing these type of problems. And it's unfortunate that most of the agencies that have these programs, they're not independent from the agency. So somebody's going to know about your problem at the end of the week. There's no confidentiality involved there. So, I've always tried to get officers help in the problems that they face. To this day, man, look, I could show you my phone. To this day, people call me and they, look, I pray with them. I try to get them to remove some anxiety from their lives. Sometimes they just need somebody to talk to, man. And it's difficult sometimes for some people, but I do the best that I can for them.
So you've been through a lot. I mean, I would say a correctional officer is an abnormal job. You're with inmates.
Okay.
I'm sorry, in terms of the realm, what my podcast is in mental health, right?
Okay.
A lot of people that are imprisoned are potentially struggling with mental health disorders, issues. You also had the issue where you were arrested. You've been through a lot.
Mhm.
What are some tools today that you've learned from those experiences that you implement in your life aside from God? We talked about God. God has been with you this entire time. You talked about your wife, your family, and your true friends who stuck
Right.
with you. So essentially, community. What is another tool that you have implemented or even used today to stay grounded, to stay level headed, and see the positive in things?
I think that the first thing that a person has to establish is what type of foundation do they want to build. Once you decide what type of foundation you want to build, then you build upon that foundation, one brick at a time. You can't accomplish everything overnight. So you first have to lay the foundation. I want to do this. I want to do that. Once you decide what it is you want to do, then you go to the next level of how do you accomplish doing that. I think that those things are very, very important. And I think that those things should be replayed in your mind daily to be able to allow yourself to get through whatever it is that you're going through. When you get up in the morning, you just can't get up without a destination. You can't just get up to sit down. You have to get up to do something. What is it that you're going to do? If it's whatever it may be, I don't use any example that you want. If you're to cut the grass, then cut the grass. Stop looking at it saying, got to cut that grass soon, got to cut that grass soon. It's not going to cut itself. But if you allow yourself to put a punch list, if you will, together in your own head, for some people, it's going to work. There are so many people that have mental health issues that don't know that they have mental health issues because they think that they're okay. And the bad part about it is people that they're surrounded by won't tell them that I think you have a problem. They won't say nothing. They'll allow you to continue to do it, to do it, to do it, to do it, to do it. That's a damn shame. You know, I seen a commercial once on television where the guy sits down with his partner. He says, buddy, I think my daughter's doing heroin. He says, oh, okay. No, wait a minute. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's do this. Oh, okay. Continue eating breakfast. That's not the way it's supposed to be. You're supposed to have your brother help you, your sister help you, your brother and sister help you get through whatever it is that you have to go through. But you have to be man enough or woman enough to say, I need help doing it. Some people don't say that. That's the person that you got to reach. And how do you reach that person? By starting with a simple, good morning, how you doing? Tomorrow morning is, good morning, how you doing today? Good morning. The third day, good morning. Did you eat lunch today? Fourth day, you add something new to the conversation until they're finally speaking to you. Now, some people, it may take a year, may take 2 years. I don't know. But at the end of the day, you'll reach them if you have faith. You have to have faith. Forget about them, for example. You have to believe that you can do it. I don't care what Kevin thinks of me. It's like Deion Sanders said, what makes you think I care what you think about me? You didn't make me, so you can't break me. At the end of the day, it's about what you believe in your heart and in your mind about yourself. I believe that I'm a great guy. I believe that I'm a strong man. I believe that I'm a good father. I believe that I'm a good husband. I believe that I'm going to accomplish anything that I put my mind to. That's what I believe. I don't care whether you believe it or you don't. I'm not going to let you discourage me from believing in myself. That's what the problem is today. People allow other people to influence them on what they think they should do. I don't give a shit what you do. I'm going to try to help you get out of that situation that you're in because it's bad for you. It's not helping you. It's like a person that does cocaine all day long. No, that's not cool. Oh, yeah, but I got to have it. No, you don't have to have it. You want the same high as cocaine? Yeah, drink 5 Red Bulls. You'll be fine. What? 5 Red Bulls? Yeah, you're still buzzing off the wall. Same thing. So at the end of the day, you got to change it. Change the narrative. Come out of that zone of poor me and get into the zone of yes, yes, me. And you'll be all right.
You talked about people out there who will let you continue to do the wrong thing. essentially with some of the examples you just gave. Do you surround yourself, is your community made up of people who hold you accountable?
Of course. What if you don't? You said something. Let me just say this: if you don't surround yourself, don't surround yourself with somebody who doesn't have as much to lose as you do. If they don't have as much to lose as you do, don't rock out with them, because they're only pushing you because they don't want to see you succeed. They want to see you fail. Their job is the devil. That's the devil's playground. Their job is to convince you that that's not cool, forget it, don't worry about it, do this, do that, do the other thing. Those are the people that you don't want around you. They're negative people. And then you pick up that vibe and you become a negative person. Once you pick up that vibe and become a negative person, that's not going to help you. You're walking around with 5 guys that don't even care about you. They're setting you up. It's all about a setup. What can they get from Kev? What can they do to Kev? How can they destroy his life so that he be just as miserable as we are? That's bullshit. I don't want to be miserable like you. I want to be strong. I want to be vibrant. I want to be respected. But the first thing you got to have is self-respect. If you don't respect yourself, who's going to respect you? I was talking to my wife the other day. My wife won't go to the mailbox without looking like a lady. You know? You never know who you're going to run into. But she won't do that. And I can't blame her because she's a lady. There's a difference between a woman and a lady.
Yeah.
There's a difference between a male and a father. And there's a difference between a father and a dad. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. Those are important things in your life. If you surround yourself with losers, you're going to be a loser. You may be the smartest guy in a whole group of losers, but you're still a loser. You loser number 1. Okay. You understand what I mean? They're all, zeros. Have nothing going for themselves. That's not what you want to be. That's not who you want your kids to be. You don't want your kids hanging around with people that want to ride on top of subway cars or throw bricks at cars as they're passing on the highway or shoot guns illegally or rob people. You don't want your kids hanging out with people like that. Oh, that's so cool. No, that's not cool. We didn't do that when we were younger. Oh, yeah, we threw tomatoes. Okay, we threw tomatoes.
Yeah.
These guys are throwing 9mm rounds. There's a big difference, man. This has got to stop. We got to do something different. This other party stuff they have is not working. It's not working. We have to change the people that are making policies and procedures for us because they're not affected by this. They living in a gated community and they could give a shit about the guy that's down the street somewhere starving. They don't care. But they'll come to you in 4 years and say, you got to vote for me because I'm going to do this in your community. They're not going to do nothing. Look at Chicago. Look at New York. Look at these places, man. It's out of control. It's not supposed to be like this. It's not supposed to happen. That's just me, though. That's just me.
Do you want to give the audience, give your podcast a shout? Where can they find you?
Oh, my podcast, look, I didn't start out doing podcasts. Someone asked me, my buddy Chris says to me, he says, Norm, you should do this. I'm like, man, I don't want to do this. He says, no, you got a lot to offer a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can help in any way, people could follow me on Instagram at Norm Seabrook. They could follow me on YouTube at Norm Seabrook. Get Up, Tighten Up on TikTok. They could email me. If people want me to come to an event with a bunch of junior high school kids and speak to them, I'd be more than happy to do it. Colleges, whatever, union halls, I'd be more than happy to do it because I think that people are missing something. And we got to turn the page here, man, because, look, it's difficult as it may be out here for people. You could still get by because I got by when I grew up in the South Bronx on food stamps, welfare. I got by. So don't tell me you can't do it. Now, if you don't want to do it, that's something different. But don't tell me you can't do it. Have faith. God, his mercy is good, man. His mercy is so good. He didn't have to do it, but he did. Everybody gets mercy. He gives everybody mercy. It's not fair to some people, but he gives it to you. Take advantage of it. Move to the next level, man. Listen, I'm cool with who I am in myself. It gets to be a point in your life where you got to decide what you want to do. You can't keep doing the same thing expecting a different result. It doesn't work like that. Turn the page.
Norman, thank you. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for making the drive, and thank you for sharing your knowledge.
I want to thank you, man, because you know what? You got a head on your shoulder. You got a lot going on. You had a lot going on. And when you fight demons, they keep coming. They keep coming, man. And until you actually surrender, they're going to keep coming. So I want you to be encouraged, my brother. And I want you to know that there's nothing that you can't do. You stay focused on your daughter. Stay focused on your ex-wife, your best friend now. Because at the end of the day, it's just the three of you, man. It's just the three of you. But you got to put him first. And everything else will follow. I love you, Kevin. I appreciate you.
Love you too, brother. Thank you for coming on.